Richard Montanez crossed the border years ago with his family into California. So many people do, and he went to work out in the fields. They were dirt poor. He said he did not know they were poor because he'd never seen the other side of the tracks. Every night they would get together with 6 other families and they would have this communal table. They'd sit around and they'd eat and enjoy each other's company. And the next day, back out in the fields picking grapes. He of course went to school, but he dropped out at some point because Richard Montanez had not had much of an education and his English was not strong enough to get him through school. So he went to work at a car wash, washing cars one day, and one of his friends says, "Hey, listen, I just got word, the Frito-Lay company is hiring." So Richard Montanez goes over and he applies and gets a job as a janitor at the Frito-Lay company. He had a huge aspiration once he got this job. He had his eyes set on something that he wanted to achieve and during his time at Frito-Lay, and he says this is not an embarrassment to anybody else, but at that point my sole objective was to one day possibly become the driver of a garbage truck. If I could do that, I'd just have it made. So all of a sudden he's out there working one day and the CEO, the president, comes over the intercom, a little video thing and they're broadcasting, and he says, "Listen, I want everyone hearing this, everybody in this company to act like an owner." I heard that in a session earlier today. "I want you to act like an owner." And Richard Montanez sat up and took notice. He's like, "What, me? Little me, I'm the janitor. What do you mean act like an owner?" Boy, that sounds good. He said that he looked around and all of the other people, his co-workers, were like, "Whatever, corporate initiative. Oh my goodness, yeah, really, you want us to act like owners? Really, dude?" But he took it to heart. He's in the plant one day and he sees these Cheetos that are rolling off of the assembly line. They're missing one very important ingredient. They don't have the cheese on them, okay? What's a Cheeto without the cheese, with all the great orange powder on there? So he sees this, and before they dump the whole load, he goes and grabs a bag and swoops up some of those, takes them home and starts experimenting with them. He puts some chili peppers on them. He puts some other spices on them. He's thinking, this is pretty good. He starts sharing this with the neighbors. They love it. They're going nuts over it. It's like, "What is this? Where'd you get this? This is incredible." So Richard didn't know he wasn't supposed to do this, but he calls and gets an appointment with the president. Says, "I've got an idea I want to share with you." And they set up the appointment. He has a friend help come up with a 4-page business plan so that he could, go in with this. He goes out and buys a $3 tie. He didn't own a tie. And he had another neighbor that had to help him tie the tie. And he comes into that meeting armed with this, these Cheetos in this little bag he had designed and shares them with the president. They loved it. The rest is history. It became one of the best-selling products at Frito-Lay, the Flaming Hot Cheetos Flaming Hot series, and it made the company a ton of money. Why? Because somebody was given the permission to have a strong first name. Richard Montanez, by the way, is now an executive vice president with the Pepsi-Cola company. Let's hear it for Richard Montanez. You talk about the American dream. By the way, my wife and I were talking about this earlier. The American dream is not dead. People are just not pursuing it. He acted like an owner and it changed his life.